One thing that we think about when it comes to adoption is, obviously there's technology is seen as a force multiplier. I'm curious, like, as we think about change, as we think about adding more value in modernization of what we're doing, how has technology been a force multiplier in your program, or how do you use it? Arian, let's start with you as somebody who's lived it for many years.
Thanks. Well, I mean, I think tech and data are going to be foundational, and you certainly need it to execute, business objectives and tell your story. But I think the bigger force multiplier is really like establishing those close working partnerships across your organization and outside your organization that are similarly looking at risk, but from a slightly, different lens. The shops I'm talking about. Cyber fraud. Employee investigations. Continuity, external affairs. Media relations, supplier management, like all those groups. It's so important to kind of have that. And this is where you also can gain that diversity of experiences and thought through having an extended team, and by working together, if we wanted to call it a fusion center, sure. But by doing that, we're not only examining, I'm going to say the C word here, converging, threats, but we're also like pulling resources together, which is helpful when we talk about, budget constraints and being able to keep up with what's happening across the organization. So that's sort of where I would kind of lean into as I think about like what's a force multiplier in your organization is each other.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Find those people in your organizations that have risk or intelligence or security, even if it's not in their title, and identify them and create your own internal network map, and then start having conversations with them. Rachel, I mean, what do you add to this?
I just agree. And interestingly, in one of the surveys that we're running at the moment, which I shouldn't kind of release the results of yet, but one of the things I was really surprised about was, and it's still open, by the way, but there was a real focus on, some of the challenges actually being around, sure, budget features, of course it does, but around like integration and collaboration and cooperation. And I sense, this is a very unscientific way of putting things, but I do sense a sort of a corporate security kind of rubbernecking going on. I don't know if you have that phrase in the US where, there's a car accident and everybody turns their head to look at it. We call that rubbernecking here. There's sort of, like the head swiveling around within the organization, and and it's not just corporate security that's doing that. I think a lot of the risk functions are, and I think, Arian's way of describing the sort of the internal networking challenge is spot on. We as a profession are exceptionally well networked externally. It's one of the things that business leaders say about security leaders is, my goodness, they've got an amazing external network. And I think Arian's spot on that doing that as well inside the organization as you do it outside the organization is the most important force multiplier here.